Well, halftime at Dayton's Welcome Stadium, and Winton Woods with a 7-point lead on Thurgood Marshall. Second half action comes your way on Fox Sports Ohio in just a bit. We'll recap the first half, but first, joined in the booth by my partner Jeff Pecoro and Dave Berk, recruiting analyst from Fox Sports Next. No one likes to talk recruiting more than I do, Dave, and we have some time here tonight and a great game to talk about with a lot of talent on the field between these two teams. Let's start with Winton Woods and their top playmaker, Mike Edwards, who's on his way to UK.
Yeah, University of Kentucky commit, playing defensive back for him in the future. Very athletic guy. Has a lot of talent, and Mark Stoops is going to like having him on that roster in the future.
And in the first half, I mean, he's a defensive back, but he got the ball and helped the Warriors offense out as well.
Yeah, he's able to play both ways in high school, but his future will be on defense, and he's going to be a guy that's going to come up and hit you.
You know, the thing I like about him, he's a sure tackler. When he gets his hands on you, you go down to the ground, and that's what Mark Stoops is looking for. He's trying to get more athletic in that defensive secondary. Guys like this is what they need.
Yeah, they really do. When you play in that SEC, he brings a combination of physical size, speed, and toughness, and that's what they're going to have going forward.
Dave, we called Daniel Cage's name a lot in the first half.
Right.
Big number 75 for the Warriors. Tell me about him.
Daniel Cage is a young man who, the recruiting process, he's really not rushed it. You know, you're talking about a guy who has great physical size, good get off right at the point of attack, and he's able to split the offensive linemen. He's got Louisville, he's got Michigan State right now, two schools, but Ohio State came in Washington play last Friday, so there's always a possibility the Buckeyes come in late on him.
Wow, that's huge. I mean, this kid could probably have his pick of the litter of where he wants to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, because he's also got offers from Florida, Georgia Tech, places like that. So Nebraska looked at him and they want him. So, but I think he's going to stay closer to home. And I think right now it's Michigan State or Louisville that'll be battling it out in the end.
Well, Andre Parker says he has about a dozen guys on this team that will get college looks. Without running through the entire list, another big name is George Brown, another big body.
George Brown Jr., you know, is a fact he's got a great frame. He's still learning to play football. He's got to get more explosive from the hips. He's got to work on his technique. But a lot of colleges this past summer saw what he can do in their camps, and he's got somewhere around 30 offers or more.
You know, there's one other junior that I really like on that team, too, and that's Noah Listerman. Got great size, just a junior. He's a mauler, isn't he?
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who true 6'7", 260, 270 pounds, who, as you know, Pick, will get bigger when he gets that college level, and he moves extremely well, and he has the explosion in the hips already, so he will maul you, and I expect big things. Just got offered by the University of Cincinnati this past week.
When you talk about Thurgood Marshall, the playmaker in the first half, and the playmaker the last 2 years really has been Vayante Copeland, and he's headed to Michigan State, but what type of player is Mark D'Antonio getting?
Mark D'Antonio is getting a player that can play both sides of the football as you're seeing tonight. He's going to play defense going forward, but I have a feeling that Michigan State staff is really going to fight over him once he gets up there and they see what he can do. In fact, one of their coaches is here watching tonight, and it'd be interesting, you know, to see what they're thinking right now after seeing what he's done tonight with the kickoff return to open up the game. And Tay, as they call him, is a great player, great kid off the field, and he's got a lot of talent.
Very fluid, isn't he?
Very fluid, very smooth. And maybe not seeing it tonight because they don't throw the ball as much as far as Winton Woods, but he's very smooth in the back pedal, which you got to have at that next level.
He's got good length at 6'1", 185 pounds, and again, like you said, very versatile. What about Landon Brazil? And I think people say the name, and I think it's a name that's getting more and more play quickly.
Landon Brazil committed to University of Cincinnati, having never played high school football until this fall.
Unbelievable.
Very athletic basketball player who realizes that football can be his future, and it's going to be hard for Cincinnati to stay on this young man because a lot of other schools like Arkansas and Indiana, Michigan State are taking interest in him as they see him with pads on.
But I tell you what, just watching him, he's got a long ways to go. And I don't mean that bad. I mean, he's got to learn the intricacies of football. Pad level, staying low, staying in that basketball stance, especially where he's playing at defensive end. And he's got to get bigger. Obviously, he's slight because he's always played basketball. But once he puts some weight on, he could be a player.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I like was I saw him in week 1, and he carries the pads well for a guy who's never really worn them before. And as you said, we know what can happen at the next level. He's going to go in, work for a whole year, red shirt. By year 2, year 3, watch out because you're going to have a kid that can really play either tight end or defensive end.
A guy who's got a frame like that has a huge upside in the college football world. Who else for the Cougars do you like, and what have you seen here tonight?
D'Angelo Martin, number 7 for him, is playing safety. He's another guy who's got a great frame, who probably grows into an outside backer, maybe even a defensive end, because he's about 6'4". So I like him a lot, but we got to make sure he gets the academic part of it done. And from everything we're being told, he's going to qualify. I think he's going those guys to surprise some people late in the process.
As you go to games in the fall, how often do you get a matchup like this where the field is just littered with college football talent the way it is?
In Southwest Ohio, quite a bit. You know, you can go to see the Huber Heights Waynes, the Centervilles, go down the GCL and see the Elders and the St. X and Colerains even outside in the GMC. So a lot of talent in Southwest Ohio. Keeps me very busy.
I know that there's a couple of other players that are out there that we've been talking about that are uncommitted still, right?
Uncommitted. T. Gray Scales out of Colerain High School, linebacker, looking at Indiana, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin. Right now, I think the Hoosiers may have the advantage. John Besney is a great story, has a lot of offers. I think he's down to Vanderbilt, but I think right now Yale and Harvard may win out. This is a young man who's got a 34 on his ACT, and a very great student, and a guy who's going to play offensive line going forward. And then Arius Moore, linebacker out of Beaver Creek, looking at Marshall and looking at Louisville and UC, Illinois, also Indiana. And I think the Hoosiers, again, may have a strong case with him.
We're early in the season still, relatively, but is this a good year for Southwest Ohio and the amount of talent that will funnel to the college level?
It's a good year, but not a great year. Okay. So right now I'll say there's a lot of talent, especially when we start talking about 215 guys. You start looking at Justin Hilliard out of St. Xavier, who's got the offers from Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame. You start looking at Christopher Young and Chris Fobbs out of Miamisburg, 2 young guys who a lot of people don't know about. Tyree Canal, who's already committed to Michigan out of Huber Heights Wayne, Noah Listerman, as we already talked about in this game, and Jacob Halder out of Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, an offensive lineman who's going to get a lot of looks. And he's got a teammate in the 216 class, Prince Michael Salmons. Remember that name? A young man from Lagos, Nigeria. Again, has never played football until this fall. 6'6", 265 pounds, and right now they're putting they got the training wheels on, keeping the 4-point stands. But if you have a chance to go see this young man in the future, he's going to be a national recruit.
That's why we have Dave Berk from Fox Sports Next to keep us up to date on names like that. A 7-point lead at halftime for Winton.